help Woodward Rogers with your news and clues. See these wind turbines on the right? I've been passing hundreds of these things, rolling 77 southbound through South Texas. Somewhere over to my left is the Gulf of Mexico. I'm still north of Corpus Christi. Between it and Refugio. And of all these wind turbines, this nice breezy day, sure enough, some of those still aren't turning. So they're still not producing electric power. Then of course, if they're producing enough power to actually fully supply the part of the grid they're expected to, there's got to be battery storage for that. I spoke to someone who has been hauling those batteries. They pick up the used ones and deliver them to where they're sold, or deliver the used ones when they're sold to other locations. The first user normally only tries to get 2 or 3 years out of them. Then they got to that they go ahead and sell them off. Somebody else will buy 2 or 3 of them, hoping they'll get at least 2 to get some good use out of them. The things are about the size of a tractor trailer, at least the size of like a 40-foot shipping container, possibly bigger. I forget exactly what I was told. Then of course, if all these turbines are covering all the farmland out here, blocking areas for growing grain, and spilling oil all over the place if they mess up, or if they catch fire and parts go flying all over the place, cause damage and falling down and set things ablaze. The electricity from those has to go in these high power transmission lines all the way to the substations for the cities. Same thing has to be done with the solar farms, because nobody wants a solar farm right in their neighborhood. No, 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 put that out there and cover the farmland with it. If they get all busted up by major hailstorms, oh well, just leave it lay there and build another solar farm. In the deserts, they move the box turtles, I think, or some type of tortoise. Oh no, we can't hurt them, so we got to move them. Well, guess what? Those critters always try to go back to their original location where they were born. So either way, they tend to die. So where's all the environmentalists worried about the environment that's being destroyed by so-called green energy of this wind and solar energy that's not at all reliable? It uses crude oil and natural gas in order to produce it, to make the plastic material that the turbines are made of, and for the steel foundries to make all the steel parts, they use natural gas or coal, especially since much of the parts, especially for the solar panels, come from China. The whole panels come from there, but much of the materials come from China. And what does China use for their factories and for their cities to produce electric power, to do all that? Coal. Nowadays in Western countries, coal is produced, not only is it mined, but it is also brought to a usable state and used much cleaner than it used to be. Is that done in China and other countries? Nah, not really. They don't have all the same standards that is in North America, specifically USA and Canada, or in majority European countries. And then what about all these turbines they want to put possibly in the Gulf of Mexico, but they're already putting them in the Atlantic Ocean all along the East Coast? The state of Florida is trying to keep that out. It looks ugly. They don't want to mess up the scenery by the beach for their tourists. But when they're turning, especially when bearings get worn, they put off high frequency whines. Not all of them are audible to the human ear, but other creatures can hear them, especially whales that rely on frequency to navigate. The right whale, I believe that's spelled W-R-I-G-H-T, which is indigenous to the Atlantic, specifically along the New England coast. They, not only are they affected by any of those much larger turbines than these, once they're put into place and actually turning, which takes several months, because they also have to have the electric power infrastructure, like I showed, but of course it'll have to go underneath the water. Those things will have to, they've got to use sonar all throughout that region to figure out where they can either blast or drill the huge holes for the anchors to set those things on, the platforms. I haven't seen any specific data, but I believe the base of them might be like several concrete pillars down into the ocean floor, sort of like is used for a drilling platform for oil or natural gas. Now, if they got old platforms for that they're not using anymore, would they put a wind turbine on it? I doubt it. But that sonar being used is disrupting the sonar that the right whale uses to navigate. It's causing confusion and it's pushing them out of their normal feeding and breeding regions, which makes problems. It's also pushing them out into shipping lanes. So even if they're low enough not to get hit by the hull of a ship, that huge rudder turning by that huge diesel engine to move that ship hits the whale, or a whole family of whales at once. So how is this more ecologically friendly? And does it produce any less CO2, carbon dioxide? Ha, ha, ha. Sure, whatever. If you're using coal to produce all the materials to make the stuff, if you got child labor in Africa to gather lithium and cobalt and other materials for China to make the batteries, your neighborhood might still look nice, maybe. Your air might still be cleaner depending on where you are. As a whole, is it more ecologically friendly? No, it's not. Is it reliable? No. Is it sustainable? In all actuality, no. It's already been tested by a number of universities in the USA possibly one in Europe. I don't remember for certain. But studies have already been done to figure out just exactly how much wind and solar powers would be needed to generate electricity, plus storage batteries. Since there's no sunlight at night, there's often no wind, or like recently the wind is so stinking strong that the automatic clutches have to lock those turbines. And in some states, when there was tornadoes nearby, the winds were so strong that the clutches couldn't hold the turbines. They ran free, overrun the bearings. The oil, yes, lots and lots of oil, several hundred gallons, couldn't keep the bearings cool enough. They caught on fire, burst all apart, and sent the turbines flying several miles, naturally causing plenty of damage. Is that ecologically friendly? Maybe. Is YouTube going to put a tag under this video telling you about their change of climatic events, the big great crisis that they claim is going on, and at the very bottom of that try to tell you that it's because of man-made events? Look up during the daytime. You see that bright yellow white looking thing shining down on you? That's the driver of it all. And that thing didn't just happen to get there, nor the thing that goes around at night in cycles reflecting that sunlight on us so we can see a little bit, nor the rest of the stars. And frankly, other stars affecting our sun right now, at least one anyway, are causing more activity there. I've touched on this in different videos. I've recommended to people to look to. Start asking more questions, please, people. And maybe ask them of those representatives in your state, your county, your U.S. Congress, Senate, or your provinces or whatever in Canada, or however they're called in your different countries. Start asking them questions. And when you'd ask them those questions, first have gone to the websites of Heartland Institute to get the facts and offer to send them the links to provide them the facts so they can educate themselves for their own well-being and for the well-being of all the rest of you, instead of continuing this globalist agendas that are not meant to help mankind in any way. I won't go into their ending result. Just don't forget the number listed on the Georgia Guidestones. Don't forget the identical number mentioned by Jane Goodall, that lady that lived with the chimpanzees for years, of how many people would be a good number of people for this earth to sustain itself without any problems. I'll remind you, it's somewhere near 250 million, if I do remember correctly. I wish you all a blessed day. Thank you for watching. Stay cool, but be prepared to try to stay warm also.